Archibald Low was a British physicist, engineer, and inventor. At this point in history, attention deficit disorder was not yet a thing. He was just considered unfocused and undisciplined. He was known for having brilliant ideas but would never see a project through to the end. His first time trying to work, he took a position working with his uncle at his engineering firm. Though an old firm at the time, it was constantly on the verge of collapse. He created things like a whistling egg boiler, which sold well enough to make him some money. However, it was his larger inventions that would have made him a household name had he completed them. Archibald was the first to create a forced induction engine. Unfortunately, it was never completed and would be fully developed in 1912 by the company F. E. Baker Lentinood. His next big invention came in 1914 and was named Televista. His invention was crude but was finished enough to demonstrate it for the Institute of Automobile Engineers. This invention, which was the first version of the television, was described by the papers as a way to show visual images through wires. He made plans to continue his improvements to this device, hoping it would be the thing that made him famous. Unfortunately for him, the following year, World War I would break out, bringing his work to a snail's pace. He would finally apply for a patent in 1917, but would not receive it until 1923 due to security reasons. Since his patent was held for so long, he would not get the credit for the invention of the television. That honor would fall on Philo Taylor Farnsworth, who received his patent in 1920 for a full working version. For his part to help the war effort, he signed up for the military and joined officers' training. He would be promoted to captain and was the second in command of the Royal Flying Corps. He offered to use his work from the Televista to help them create a way to remotely control RFC drone weapons. This project was called Aerial Target, or AT, and it was done to fool the Germans into thinking the project was about building a drone plane to test anti-aircraft capabilities. He, along with two others, were tasked with building the prototype. After seeing the prototype, General Sir David Henderson, who was the Director General of the Directorate of Military Aeronautics, immediately organized experimental works. Low was given about 30 men to create what he considered the first proper aerial target, complete with explosive warheads. The de Havilland-designed Airco AT had its first trial on 21st March 1917. It was successfully controlled until the plane experienced engine failure and crashed. Just 3 months later, they tried again. This time, the plane was lost before takeoff. That same year, he and his team would invent the first electrically steered rocket. His rocket was almost exactly the same as the one used by the Germans in 1942 against merchant ships. By 1918, he and his team would develop the Royal Navy Distance Control Boats, DCB, a variant of the coastal motorboat. His inventions for the war would earn him the title of the father of radio guidance systems. After the war, he would start the Low Engineering Company Limited, where he would continue to invent. When the Second World War started, he did not hesitate to join back up. He joined the Air Ministry, where his job was to examine captured German aircraft and write reports for British pilots. His reports were important to the war as they would enable the pilots to identify the weak points of the enemy aircraft. During his time working for the military, he worked on several bombs that never fully came to fruition. After the war, he would go in a different direction, becoming a prolific writer of science books and even entering the realm of children's science fiction. He would pass away in 1956 from a tumor in his lung. His life and work continue to inspire future generations of inventors and engineers. Archibald Low's legacy remains significant in the history of engineering and technology.